No, we're just going out there. Me and Brendan are going out there. Um, so no, we typically aren't playing,
Yeah.
but this popped up and
Yeah.
he asked us if we wanted to go out, so we're heading out
That's
there
cool.
now.
All
Yeah.
right, man. That's cool. That's one thing I wish I did a little bit more is play year round. I wish I used to, but I just, I don't do it anymore. But man, when you roll into the season actually starts, it's like, man, you're firing on all pistons, you're moving and you've already been playing, and so you're rolling right into it. I just wish I did that more. Helps a lot.
We always make time to go hit BP in the wintertime, but that's about it. So
Yeah. 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 Let's see here. Let me see what I got. I always forget if I always forget whether I can see the messages or not. And oh, I can. So that's perfect. Let's see.
you got special access. I don't get to see that.
Are you kidding me?
No, I've never
I
been
wonder.
able to see that.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I
Need to
can only
make
see
you.
the messages within the studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Between,
yeah. So like right here.
yeah, I can't see
Yeah.
where that came
What's
from.
going on, AZ? Yeah, yeah. That sucks, man. We need to figure out how to do that. Maybe we'll. How long have you been helping me, co-host?
I don't know, 3 years.
I think it's been we've been at this for 3 years, right?
Yeah, yep.
So, Deanna, I think it's time. I think it's time. I think we can give them the reins. I think we can let them tune in to all the comments and all that. I think it's gonna happen. What's going on, Az? How you doing, brother? Uh, yeah, I think it's time. What do y'all think? Should I give Joe the nod? Give him access, full access?
Do we got
It
to wait
kind of
another
scared
year?
me. I don't think so, man. I think with this
Three
new
years is
year, we're
long
gonna
enough.
yeah, I think we're gonna create a new intro, and this year, and so with the new intro, we're gonna approve new administrative tools for you.
All
What's
right.
going on, Stu? How you doing, brother? DK
Like,
Clothing right there with
like, like,
Rich.
like a promotion, right?
You are gonna get a promotion. Oh, there's the timer. That's it. What's going on, Stu? How you doing, brother? I Joe's gonna be. Where are you going to, Joe? Play ball?
Going to Vegas. Going back to Vegas.
Uh,
So playing all forces on November 30th and December 1st, Thursday, Friday, and then playing 40 plus Saturday, Sunday. So they use about 15 or 16 different complexes down in Las Vegas and
God
Henderson
Almighty.
for this
Jesus.
event. We'll be playing BLD Thursday, Friday, and then I think it's Arroyo Grande maybe complex on
Mm.
Saturday, Sunday.
Wow. Wow. And how many divisions did you say? Like close to?
I think it's around 20 or so. They got the open A, B,
That's
C,
crazy.
D, and they
That's
got
crazy.
co-ed, they got women's, they got 40, 45, 50, 55. They got all forces, so they got tons of different divisions.
Is BLD the best complex in Vegas, I wonder? Like, as far as most softball players are concerned? Or is it just like the biggest, the most accommodating, or is it like the best fields in Vegas, is what I wondered. I don't
Well,
know anything else in Vegas.
I've played out there at that Arroyo Grande. I think it's Arroyo Grande is the name of it, but I played it. It's down near Henderson. I've played in that a couple years, several years ago. It's a decent little complex, nothing
Yeah.
crazy, but I think BLD. What's nice about that is that they have the bar area inside where you can go inside. It's air conditioned, nice bathrooms, stuff like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully next year when we get out there, they got all the fields turfed. I think they got half of them new turf when we were out there in October, and then hopefully by next year, all the fields will be that way. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, they need a little work out there. I know that.
Yeah, they're putting
details.
it into it. I think is what it looked like to me. It's
Yeah.
definitely different than it was
Yeah.
last year. So
Yeah.
they're getting it done.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Now they can
She had to
justify their
clarify
20.
this.
What's that? Okay.
She just had to clarify that because you know why? Because she probably has this little hidden thing for your stash and she just
Oh,
doesn't want to say it. So she's probably putting that out there for my sake, but really, she's liking the stash. That's what I think.
that makes sense. I can understand that.
Man, how long has it taken to grow that thing?
Well, I always do it every year between the World Series and Thanksgiving. So it's just a yearly thing that I do, I guess. My family hates it.
Man.
Everybody I
My
know
family
hates it. People at my office hate it. My boss hates it. So I make a lot of people happy by doing it.
Well, I like it.
Thanks, Trini. You make one person. That's good.
That's funny though. That's good though. The yearly stash. That's cool.
I appreciate your support.
I'll tell you who I appreciate is Ryan Register. He was saying he was going to tune in tonight. He's looking forward to the recaps and all. It's really cool to be able to have people that support us like they do, man. They show up all the time, and they're ready to check out what we put together, man. It takes a little bit of effort to put this thing together. So I appreciate you, Ryan and Stu.
Yep.
They're always there, and so I'm excited. Look at that.
There she is.
There she is. All right, Joe, you ready to do this?
Let's do it, man.
Hey, by the way, guess which what do they call them? The suites. I'm here at the Trump National in Doral. This is Doral. I think it's Doral, Miami, Florida. And I'm here. I get to stay in the Tiger Woods suites, so it's pretty cool, man. To be able to see all the pictures of him, man. That dude, man. That was a crazy impact on the game of golf, man. That was really cool. Yeah, it's cool to be able to sit in there and see all those.
So that suite that he's got there, is that something because he stays there a lot?
No, they have like Phil Mickelson. They have his suite. They have Arnold Palmer suites. They have different suites. So, and it's not a suite individually. It's a bunch of rooms. So they have all these rooms here and then that's like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. All right. So, hey, there's Denio. I say D Rodriguez. I like to make sure that I just use the names that are popping up on the screen. But yeah, man, thanks for joining us. And then check this out. Tommy says, I didn't recognize your new co-host.
Incognito, man.
There she is again. She's back. All right, let's get this show on the road. What's that?
No, let's go.
Partner in crime, Joe, joining me again. We got another special guest. Don't forget, man, I got your 6.
All right, Joe, thanks for joining me again. I don't even remember what episode this is. Let's see here. Episode 58. 58. So,
Getting up
Joe,
there, man.
So we just went over it. We are here on, I usually say the date. What's today's date, Joe?
I don't know, sometime in November.
Yeah. Let's see. It's
November
Deanna's
16th.
signaling. 16th. There you go. So it's November the 16th, episode 58. We got a lot going on. So, man, I'm excited to be able to get started. Again, here coming to you from Florida, Trump National in Doral in Miami, Florida. Here, just about 12 to 13 minutes from the Miami-Dade Police Department. And we'll talk about why I'm here in Florida, which most of you contributed to these efforts. One thing I want to be able to mention is, hey, there you go. What's up, Adam? Adam, I got a little something coming up later on for you. Big shout out to Adam and Sean White. What's up, fellas? How's it going, Sean?
What up, Sean?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. One thing I wanted to mention, because I said I would do it a while ago, and I want to make sure I don't miss out on it. We've got a tournament coming up, Joe, and we're gonna have a show coming up that's gonna highlight all the tournaments, and I'm gonna ask the people, the tournament directors, to be able to come on and to give a little. We're gonna have a show that's just gonna hit a bunch of tournaments, man. We're gonna get these tournament directors, those that are willing to show up, to be able to talk about their tournaments, what they offer, where it's gonna be, things of that sort, maybe the meaning behind it, if it's been around for a while, and even if it's new, still be able to talk about what the purpose of the tournament is. So we're going to do that, but this one I wanted to highlight. It's the Highwayman Classic, and this one's with Kansas City. So Brad, and those guys, they ended up creating this tournament August 24th and 25th. It's majors and gold brackets. I did ask him, and it is a 2-state rule, is what I believe it's going to be. If I'm wrong, I want to make sure that I get that right. That's the case, but I believe it's a 2-state rule. So that's taking place at the Capitol Federal Sports Complex there in Liberty, Missouri. So make sure that you check that one out, see if it fits your schedule. So Joe, I'll tell you what, I want to say a big shout out. AZ's joining us, Stu Donaldson. Of course, we got Audrey. Got D. Rodriguez, Tommy Eldridge, Adam Souter, Sean White, Tyler Wilson. What's going on, brother? That's my Canadian connection with that family. So it's going to be pretty cool what we got coming up for you, too. The girls and I are watching. That's awesome. What's up, girls? They're always doing a lot for all of us. Jay Rhymes Jr. What's going on, man? We just friended each other on Facebook. So we're buddies now. We got it like that. Hey, I want to tell you, Joe, and like most people do, the reason I'm here in Florida is for a very special build. It's an honor chair with Saving a Hero's Place. So most of you guys, about a year and a half ago, Etchy from Miami 5-0, they've come down to our tournament, along with a few other officers that we've lost over the years. We wanted to be able to do something special, and it was brought to my attention, and ultimately we made it happen. It was an honor chair with Saving a Hero's Place. We've got Tommy, and I think one of the things that I want to do, Joe, is just highlight what it is that this honor chair is about. I mean, when you got a fallen officer, typically they end up taking roll call in a particular building, and they have a particular seat that we sit in. And so if an officer ends up falling in the line of duty, that seat is in remembrance of that particular officer. And that's what this honor chair does. It's not always in a roll call room. Sometimes it's in other areas like you're going to see in this video. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody within our police circuit who made this happen. My wife and I took it upon ourselves to make sure that we came down here to take part in this build. And ultimately, man, if you've never heard of Saving a Hero's Place, Tommy, Robbie, JT, you want to check this video out and remember this, because it's something that's very special. So, Joe, we'll roll it now. So we're here today to be able to build this honor chair in honor of Cesar Echeverri, and want to be able to emphasize that it's such a unique thing that Saving a Hero's Place does. If you don't know, they go around the country building these honor chairs. Typically, as an officer,
or detective, or you go to a roll call somewhere and you usually have a chair that you normally sit in when you go to roll call. And so when an officer falls in the line of duty, they build these honor chairs. Typically, it goes into that roll call room, and everybody remembers that fallen officer. There's a band that goes across, a tassel that goes across, just because we're saving that hero's place. So it's a very unique, customizable chair, whether it's badges, patches, sayings, you totally customize it. And one thing that was really neat that Saving a Hero's Place was able to do this year was to be able to get an actual traveling trailer to build on site. So if you look over here, you'll see that unit that's over there waiting. It's a part of the unit that Etchi was involved in. So they're here waiting because they're going to get an opportunity. Since Tommy, Robbie, and JT were able to get on the road and build the chairs, everybody, friends, family, co-workers, they can all come and actually take a hand in building the chair. So it's a very unique thing to be able to sand, cut wood, stain, whatever it is you want to do or that you're here at the time while they're building it. It's really cool that everybody gets a chance to be able to take part in that.
Yeah, man, super impactful. And if you notice, that was from today's build. So to this point, we're able to get that chair to a certain point. Tomorrow, we're going to add the arms, stain, and put those final touches on it. And then Red Garcia from Miami 5-0 is putting on a tournament on Saturday. And we're going to be able to present that chair with Tommy, Robbie, and JT. And be able to present that chair, which is fitting, during a softball tournament that they're putting on, where there will be a lot of people who worked with or knew Etchi. So I'm really excited about that, and I want to thank Saving a Hero's Place. I'll tell you that this chair is going to be located in their Hall of Honor. So in their department, all the way down this hall, they have pictures of these fallen officers. Well, this is, as soon as you walk down that Hall of Honor, as soon as you open up the door, just to the left, you see St. Michael there, and that's Tommy, and that's where the chair is going to go. And on the right side of that hall is the pictures of all the fallen officers. So it's going to be right there as soon as you walk in that long hall. This is in their Miami-Dade headquarters building, so it's very special, where it's going to go. The Robbery Interdiction Division, it's a Red Dog. They gave us this band today. It's once a Red Dog, always a Red Dog. And it has Etchi's badge on it, 6779. So it was really cool. I know how special this is to them. And they have a room that they dedicated to Etchi. And they have all kinds of things. I mean, they had his tourniquet. They had his vest. I mean, they had things that were in his car. And so it was very moving. And I just say that it's a extremely valuable service that Saving a Hero's Place does. So if you get the opportunity to be able to continue to help, Tommy, Robbie, and JT travel the country like they do. He got off the San Antonio Police Department. They're traveling the country doing this for officers all over. And if you find it in your heart and it doesn't matter, man, $1, $5, it doesn't matter, man. Help these people continue to do what they do. They just keep traveling the country and building these chairs on site so that people can take part in building that chair. So really excited about that. It's very, very cool. All right, so that's cool. That's what we're doing tomorrow. We got the finishing touches, like I said, and then Saturday we'll present. What were we gonna say, Joe?
I was just gonna say, I think it was awesome that you put this together, and just shows what type of person you are and what you do for the circuit and everybody that's in it, and it's pretty special. And without you, obviously, this wouldn't be happening. So, appreciate everything you do for us and for the circuit, and just like I said, it's awesome being a part of this with you and everything else. So I just appreciate it, man.
It's very cool to be able to do. I appreciate that, Joe. And Audrey and I, we made it a point, of course, to make our pay our own way down here, and to do nothing of this came from any of the donations or anything like that. We just felt it was a part of what we wanted to do and to be a part. And I'm really happy we did. It was very special. So I appreciate that, man. Hey, there's your partner you're going to be playing with, Andres Monterrubio.
There he is.
What's up, brother? Happy birthday. Andreas's birthday is today, just so you know.
How old is he now? 39, 40? Gotta be one of the two.
I think he just became 40, if I'm not mistaken, Andreas. So yeah, let us know, man. Yeah, man. So all right, so we'll go on to the recap of the Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championship. First, I want to be able to note that, oh, shoot, there's Andreas, 39.
39. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, I'll tell you what, that guy's in shape, man. He's that guy's in unbelievable shape and continues to work on it. He just got injured here recently, but he's working on it, continuing to stay sharp. So, yeah, happy birthday again, Andres. All right, so our 2024 dates for the Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championships taking place September the 6th, 7th, with the Players Party on the 5th. So I've already had, Joe, I haven't put it out yet, but I already have 3 teams that have contacted us outside the state of Texas. So I'm excited about that. I think this is the earliest I've ever had teams respond.
What did they contact you about?
Showing up to the tournament, man, to be in there in 2024. So I'm excited about that. I've never had this many teams, Yeah. So that makes me, as a tournament director, it makes you happy to start to get interest already, outside of your Texas teams, for me at least. So
we're thinking about making it.
All right. We'll talk about that later. But I'll tell you, one of the things, Joe, that came up, and I was surprised, is that people, and I don't look for the attention, of course, but it does matter for me as far as our volunteers and everybody that is involved in the setup and ultimately putting this thing together. People expressed that they thought we lived in Waxahachie or somewhere right in the area. And I thought it was interesting that people don't realize that we come from San Antonio all the way to Waxahachie, which is basically Dallas, to be able to put this tournament on. So there's a lot involved with loading up everything, because once you leave the city, you can't come back. If you leave the prizes, if you leave anything like that, you're done. You're screwed, right? So it takes a lot to be able to coordinate to just get to Waxahachie. But then we have to set up. And so I want to be able to highlight the setup in this video right here. Yeah, man. Takes a little bit of work. Obviously, you saw, Joe and the guys came out. Mo. I mean, there was quite a few people there to help make that happen, and it really helps. So I appreciate everybody that that comes out and supports when it comes to setting up early. So thank you, Joe, and all your guys. And ultimately, you start talking about, you know, Joyce and Deanna there, as you see, they're always there for the setup. They get there early. Deanna's family normally gets there to show up early and to be able to help us set up and break down. Along with Mo, of course. Mo's always there. You know, you go, I go. And I know that, like with the JT with the Waxahachie Police Department, man, that guy was out there in uniform and with his vest and gun belt and just working his butt off. So just wanted to highlight a few of those people when it comes to our setup and what everybody does to be able to make that happen.
It was a nice cool 105 that day.
Yeah, and we're about to get into that too. So, hey, Deanna, I think I got this right, but we're moving on to the venue, right? To the players' party. All right. So we had a venue now that we moved to. It's Big Al's down the hatch. Most people love this place, know it for the karaoke and the tons of TVs. It's a sports bar, but Big Al is a radio personality out of 96.1 there in Dallas. And I'm very happy to be able to support him. He's a part of a great radio program. And
he's a great guy.
Oh, dude, he's a cool dude, man. Super cool. So anyway, we went there. We had our players party, and we'll go ahead and roll that video for those of you who have not been able to make it.
We gotta go to the lobby.
Right here to the lobby. Supposedly somebody's waiting.
Yeah, I'm not going Oh,
Dude, he's
Oh
back.
my God!
And he looks great.
jeez. Look at that tattoo on the side. iHeart showing. Oh.
Wait a minute.
Oh
That's
my
not
goodness.
funny. That's not funny at all. Dude,
I love Joe
it's
Monahan.
been such a long time. A lot of hugs. You're back. I take such good care of him, and he was gone for a little while, and we had a little bit of a rough patch. Get it? We had a little bit of a rough patch, but now we're making it through. Look at that.
He looks great.
His number is still consistent, and look.
I like the new tat.
He's awesome.
That is great.
That's awesome. Look at him. Great. It's okay.
Still got the
It's
stuff.
okay. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't hold him by the stuff.
Let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. Where is that? Let's see.
I want to give some love to all of our teams out here. We got the Texas SA Law Biotech in the house. Missouri is in the house. Kansas City, make some noise. New York is in the house. What's up, New York? Give 'em high. How about Minnesota? Any Minnesota in the house?
21-20 in Detroit. And we just stopped at a 4th and 2 at the mid-yard line.
Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, I gotta see this.
I'm getting him.
That was a bad day for the Kansas City fans.
I felt horrible for him.
That Waxahachie
horrible.
pumpkin wasn't their good luck charm.
I'll tell you what, man. That for those that don't know, the Waxahachie pumpkin is just amazing, man. They've been with us for a long time. There's a lot of experiences that we've all shared together. If you haven't tuned into previous podcasts, you need to. It's really cool. We might probably put like some sort of a collection together with the Waxahachie pumpkin. But hey, I'll tell you what, Joe. Every year as a tournament director, about 3 to 4 weeks out, I'm sitting here going, "Oh my God!" But then I watch the videos, and man, I can't stop smiling. It's already no. All I got to do is get there. Once I get there, the hugs, the great things that are shared, like Benji sharing with me, like he did, being able to catch up with everybody like we do. Man, it just makes it so worth it. And we had so many great things shared with us on that night. And it just, again, like I said, I know you being a tournament director and those out there that do it, we sit there and we pull our hair out. Well, some of us do. Some of us pull our hair out.
Those 3 or so weeks leading up to a tournament are stressful, man. I get it.
Yeah, big time. But again, watching this video, man, it's so awesome. So thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting this tournament. I'm telling you, you don't realize how important you are to be able to keep these things going, man. So, yeah, hey, Andreas is a J-Mo, you rocking that mustache in Vegas?
It'll be gone Thanksgiving morning. So, no, I'm not.
Hey, Josh Ulrich. Hey, man, thank you for joining us, Josh. It says good stuff. This tournament is on my bucket list. I'll make it next year. That's
Good
cool,
to hear.
man. That's what I like to hear, man. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and a big emphasis is on that camaraderie and fellowship. So I'm glad you're going to be able to make it, man. Well, I'll tell you what. So the next day is day one, and along with opening ceremonies, we play our round robin games and then get into the bracket play. Joe, how many do we play? 1 or 2 bracket games?
Everyone played three pool play games leading into the double elimination.
And then double elimination, did we play like 1 or 2? I don't remember. I think most played. Most played 1.
Yeah, we all got 1 double elim game in.
All right, cool.
Before we came back on the second day.
All right, very cool. So one of the things that we do is every year we have a theme to our tournament. And this year, seeing as for most that everybody in the circuit who's attended our tournament or ever had an opportunity to hear the story understands that I've been dealing with my second bout with cancer, right? Got over that one, but American Cancer Society gives me that less than 8% chance to live past 5 years, right? My 5-year mark is January the 4th. So it's getting a little intense. Got my scan next week and then get the results the week after that. So this year, along with that important mark, we also had numerous people within our circuit that ultimately got a diagnosis with cancer. And we've helped a lot of people from our circuit for people with cancer. So we wanted to be able to have a recognition for those that have going through, or that we've lost due to cancer. And the theme of it is that this family does not fight alone, and we don't. You guys are directly responsible for me continuing to push through and to get to this 5-year mark. And I won't hide it. I mean, I depend on you guys to help me to continue to see what I've got after that 5-year mark. So that was the purpose for this. And you'll be able to understand. The speakers were a little bit tough because it was windy and all, but we added some captioning. So y'all will be able to see day one and opening ceremonies.
people came through for us to be able to allow us to have a great day out here to celebrate in that camaraderie and that fellowship that we all enjoy and need. We want to recognize Dan Potter of Code 3 Softball. He was responsible last night for the keg over at the Players Party. We want to recognize Big Kid Clothing, and Stu Donaldson and Rich. They're helping us out with the prize package and one of those kegs you guys are going to be enjoying over there. We're going to do Biotex. Biotex sponsors 3 of those kegs that are over there, so we appreciate Biotex along with some of that prize package that is out here. Elite Sports, we want to thank Carlos, Ryan, Jennifer, Cheyenne, and Rocket that's over here. This is the furthest east that they drive from where they come from, so that's a very special thing. We appreciate them helping us with the prize package, providing the bats, the balls, and so we want to give a big shout out to Elite Sports. Thank you guys very much. We got the Waxahachie Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Downtown Waxahachie Merchants Association. They always help us out with the sponsorship every year, so thank you to them. Really quickly, I'm going to have the chief address you guys. We wanted to come out and say a few words. Sergeant Willie Drabble, 34 years of service. Trooper Stephen Gresham, 20 years of service. And Sergeant Darren Thomas, 22 years of service. Thank you guys for being here. Let's pay respects to our flag.
On February 24th, I hopped on a plane and went to Tampa to play with my teammates. And I got off, or I was turning my phone back on, and I hear from Reagan's mom that to call her as soon as possible. I tried calling, went right to voicemail, tried calling her mom, right to voicemail, and then I called mine. My mom told me that at her annual checkup that they found some numbers wrong with her blood work, and they sent her right to the emergency room, and they thought she had leukemia. I find this information out, I go immediately to the gate, and I fly right back home on the next flight. I land, I spend the night in the hospital. 3 days later, on her 4th birthday, on February 27th, we got the formal diagnosis that she did have acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, and we underwent treatment right away. Obviously, this came as a complete surprise to everybody, myself included, my family, but my teammates too, who were also expecting me to come out there and man center field for the weekend, and it shot everybody right in the gut. And the immediate support that I got from my teammates was exceptional, and it continued throughout the entire time I was in the hospital, and it's continued to this day. So I was getting texts from other people, not just my teammates, guys from Midwest Heat, Detroit, Chicago Metros. The next tournament after that, I got pictures from DeSico and Pancake of them all wearing Reagan Strong shirts, which was incredible. Dan Potter put together a raffle, and the proceeds went to basically pay for her doctor bills and her medical stuff.
Awesome, man. Hey, we do not fight alone. This family does not fight alone.
My journey to hell started tonight. I was talking with my lieutenant, and I just happened to be talking about an event we were doing. He happened to see some bumps on my right side of under my jaw, and just asked me, what is going on. Thought nothing of it. Had a doctor's appointment already the next day. Told the wife about it. 4 surgeries in 3 weeks, and then it just went downhill from there. I just want to thank Todd Matson. I just name all my Utah boys, Ivy, Groves, Priest, Ship. I know I'm going to leave a lot out, but I love you guys. I appreciate the time I got to play with you guys. I'm retiring this year just due to my health. I'm going to miss the sport, but I love you, Utah Metro. Trini, thank you so much for this opportunity. I love you.
Thank you for letting me have a shirt. The third person we're going to have out is a family. Now, we heard from somebody who was within the circuit that had a family member affected. We've heard somebody who's in the circuit that is affected himself personally. This individual and his family, they actually are, he's a civilian and works at the West Substation in the San Antonio Police Department. But he didn't fight alone, nor did his family, because of you guys. You're going to find out here in a minute, right? Daniel, come on out. Daniel Zavala got his family, Evelyn, Jared, and Josiah. Come on out.
Good afternoon. My name is Jared. I am 13 years old and I was diagnosed with acute myelocytic leukemia in 2019 at 9 years old. After being diagnosed, I spent the next 9 months receiving high-dose intense chemo. Thankfully, on May 8th, 2020, those long stays were over because I finished my treatment in the hospital and I was done with those crazy chemos. Since then, for the next almost 3 years, I only had to take oral chemo daily, and I was so excited when it all finally came to an end on July 7, 2022, and I was officially cancer-free. Even though I was the one fighting cancer, it truly was a family battle. I was especially thankful to have a wonderful extended SAPD family who was and has been a great support through this journey. Along with SAPD, we discovered other organizations like Shields for Kids who help kids in need. We appreciate all of their support and assistance they gave to me and my family when we needed it the most.
I stand here with a heart full of gratitude and immense appreciation. We are gathered not only as a family, but as a community to thank not only SAPD, Shields for Kids, but all law enforcement for what they've done for my family during his challenging time and his journey and his battle. While our journey has been filled with ups and downs, moments of despair, but also moments of profound hope and strength, through it all, we've learned that a community is not defined by its shared joys, but by its collective response to adversity. The SAPD officers and all law enforcement that I have met along the line have exemplified this spirit of unity and compassion. They've been more than just officers of the law. They've been a pillar of strength for my family. From organizing a fundraiser to lending a listening ear during our toughest moments, they've shown us what it truly means to protect and serve. Their support has extended beyond their duty. And in these moments of selflessness that we realize the depth of their commitment to our community. They've walked this challenging path with us hand in hand, reminding us that we are not alone in this fight. Thank you all to your dedication, your kindness, and your unwavering support. You've given my family hope when we needed it the most, and for that we are eternally grateful.
I think Trini may be having some technical difficulties here. Deanna, you up? There he is.
All right, there I am.
We got you.
All right, good. Did the video keep going?
Yeah, the video went through all the way.
All right, awesome. Well, then I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I'll tell you this, really impactful. And I love this family does not fight alone, because it's true. It is a big part of why I'm able to push through, and I make no bones about it. It truly does matter what you guys do for me and for everybody within the circuit, but as you can see, outside the circuit also. I want to be able to give a big shout out to Elite and Onyx, but Elite Sports, they came up with these cancer tribute shirts. We designed them together, and you'll notice on this one, Mo's there, says this family does not fight alone, and it says I fight for, and it has my name down at the bottom. And in the video, I was wearing a shirt in honor of a buddy of mine, Dwayne Killian, who also contributes a ton to our circuit. He's a policeman. He's retired, but he's never played softball. So it's really cool to be able to have these shirts. Make sure that you get a hold of Elite and get these shirts. They can do that personalized for whoever it is that you want to honor when it comes to their fight or what they've gone through when it comes to dealing with cancer. So want to be able to thank Elite again for that. Joe, what I love about this is being able to catch up with everybody. You know, when you're able to catch up with people that sometimes you don't see, but once, maybe twice a year, I mean, it's a very special thing. It's what I love about, of course, our World Series. That brings everybody together in the big stage in Vegas. But these tournaments that we participate in are sometimes located in a part of the nation that everybody can show up because it's close. You know, it's less expensive to get the whole team there. So that's always a huge thing.
I'm going to say something real quick. So that last
Yes,
picture
sir.
you just showed, I don't know if in the 15 years that I've known Benji from Minnesota, I don't know that I've ever seen him smile.
See?
And you got him
That's cool,
smiling in 2 pictures.
That dude right there, man, he impacted me in such a special way in the last couple of years. I mean, and this year he shared some stuff with me that just made me feel so special. So big shout out to Benji, man. I love it. And when I get hugs from him and he smiles like that, it's extremely genuine. And
good people there.
I didn't always have that. So I'm very happy about that. And thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, man, through our tournament, we have our Shields for Kids organization that I was able to thankfully, create and ultimately help a ton of kids and officers in our community. So you guys help to support our raffle. We have a big signing Santa event that's coming up here in just a couple of weeks where we bring in a signing Santa who's able to communicate with kids who are hard of hearing or deaf. And so I'm really excited about that. We had the raffle. Here are some photos of some winners from that raffle with Oakley glasses, custom glove, really cool type of charging water bottle. And we also have our main winner, which is Adi Velis from Connecticut Lawman. He won that 9mm. So it's very cool. Big shout out to Adi. Another thing I love, Joe, is the kids. It's a family-friendly environment out there. So there's always tons of kids rolling around. And one in particular stands out, and that's from the Zentak family. You know, when we're talking about James, whenever I get James's hugs, man, whenever he sees me, his smile, his hugs, his words, they just, man, they light up my soul. And I want you to take note. This dude's a fisherman. And so you check out what he caught, but in those top left 2 photos, that was there at the tournament. I guess there's some sort of a pond or something that's close to the fields. I didn't know anything about it. And but he went out and caught some fish at the tournament. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So big shout out to James, man. I always love seeing him.
When we last saw him, he had asked, because we're moving venues in St. Louis next year. We're moving to a different complex. He asked if there's a close by pond, and the reason being he's bringing a fishing pole. And I told him there's actually one in the park there, right just outside the complex. So he's going to be doing some fishing during the St. Louis tournament next year.
Man? That's cool, man. That's cool. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for that. I told him I wanted to catch up with him on one of these tournaments, and he can show me how to fish because I don't know. I don't know how.
You don't know how to catch them, and you don't like eating them.
But I will go with James to do it. Hey, man, one more is Tommy, man. Tommy always brings stuff for people, and he heard Jared speak and ultimately shared a shirt with Jared. So I thought that was pretty cool, Tommy. Thank you for what you do. I'll tell you this, Joe, you commented on it earlier. When you come to Texas, you can expect something like this. Not all the time, but this is what happened on this last tournament. Check out the temperature on the fields. I think Jeff
Trini, you won the award for the hottest tournament I've ever played in. That was insane. That was insane, man. People's soles of their shoes were falling off. It was so hot on that turf.
Oh man, that was pretty interesting to be able to have that kind of temperature out there. I mean, we had IVs, you know, like the World Series, we had the IVs and everything, but I'll tell you what, it was hot. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to be able to have that gun out there and to be able to see the temperatures on the infield and on the outfield. It was crazy. Hey, so we rolled into our next day of playing. This is some action and also the final standings, because we've got somebody special on the background waiting to be able to come out and highlight the World Series. So let's check it out. Let's see there. I think, was that it, Deanna? Yep, that was it. So there you go. That was the action and the final standings from the 2023 Keepers of the Peace National Softball Championships. I'll tell you this before we get into the the MVP in all tournaments. I want to show this quick picture, man. 100% all-out effort I saw this weekend. Chavez, Joe, you remember him?
Yeah,
In our game that we ended up losing to you guys.
that was brutal.
Man, that was a hell of a game. Chavez gave it all. Busted up his nose and his shoulder. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to him. He's having surgery, by the way, on his shoulder. So
Yeah,
that was
a tough way to end it, man. He put out all the effort to make the play and ended up getting injured on that play, and that was a tough way to end it. But he definitely put it all out there. I'll say that.
Yeah, man. Proud of my SA Law guys, man. That was a hell of a fight, and that's what I care about. The win, the losses, in the end, just put the fight in, and that's what they did. So I'm proud of my guys. I want to give a quick shout out to Adam Souter, Ellis County, man. Ellis County, we went on a vacation the day after the tournament. We took off, and Ellis County allowed us, through Adam Souter making that contact, to be able to store our Shields for Kids trailer out there. So Adam, I appreciate it, man. Hell of a guy. Love that dude, man. Tell him all the time he's a multi-millionaire with that personality, and hopefully I can help him to get to that point. So one last thing I'll talk about before we head to the final standings and bring on Jeff, our special guest again, is the you, Joe. You went to our tournament. We hung out, and one of my favorite memories, man, is seeing you over there with that statue. I mean, I'll tell you,
Do you even know who that is? Do you know who that statue is?
Dude, that's Nolan Ryan, man.
You do know.
Hell yeah, I do.
Do you know he was?
That's Nolan Ryan.
Do you know he was a pitcher?
Yes, and I know he knocked some dude out, and he wrestled him.
Robin Ventura.
Oh, that's what it was? I wouldn't know that.
Robin Ventura attacked him at the mound, and he ended up getting him in a headlock and gave him a few rights.
Well, what he's more famous for when it comes to me is that you climbed on top of him and made him look way smaller than that statue is. Along with that, I've never seen pure joy like this. This is a kid on Christmas that just got his favorite gift, the one he wanted. But
actually, that's a kid after about 12 shots that you fed me at the bar.
I was just gonna say that this year I wasn't with you, so this is what you look like. You were pissed because you didn't have the 12 shots, and you had nobody to hoist you up there on top of his head. So big shout out to Gilly and Shane for being able to make that happen the last year. But no, man, that was cool. Hey, man, the gold division, we had the finalists, New York Empire. And when it comes to the MVP and all tournament, Joe, you got this one or?
Let's see. Yeah, so the MVP of New York was Anthony Andrinas, I believe. How you say his name, and then all tournament Stanley Manley. So they both obviously performed well throughout the entire tournament. And
big shout out to Wax. Look at Wax there.
Wax came out and brought the team out. They had a rough day in pool play, but the first day, but they came back and made a run in the through the bracket.
All right, man. And then we have the champions, Alpha Prime and Center Mass. That's what I'm talking about. Ryan Register leading those young cats.
Yep, Center Mass, kind of the same story. They had a rough pool play, but then they had a great second day, ended up making a run. MVP was Erod, Eric Rodriguez. Gold Glove was RD Lyons. And a couple all tournaments was Tino Reyes, I believe, and Ryan Register. So obviously those guys showed out throughout the weekend, and that's why they got what they got.
Yeah, man. Denny, thank you for bringing them down and ultimately supporting like you always do, man. That was really, really cool. All right, in the majors division, we had our finalists, Great Lakes. Man, tell you what, that's a hell of a games, man. That team's a hell of a team, and this year they just fell short just by a little bit, man. Yeah,
they had the talent. They're in it every tournament that they show up. They're always in it at the end, and we seem to play them every tournament that we're both in, and it turns out to be a great game.
Yeah, man. So we got our MVPs in all tournaments coming up.
Yep. So MVP for them was Travis Perkula, and then all tournament you got Biscuit there on his knee after he got presented the award. They both, Biscuit anytime he's there. He's obviously a huge part of that team and their success. And Travis is a maniac in the outfield. So.
Oh yeah, man, those dudes are awesome, man. I love seeing them play. And then we have our champions. Oh man, 2-time champions, Missouri Lawmen. So great play, man.
It felt good getting out there, and we had a good showing. Unfortunately, we couldn't carry that over to Vegas, but we did great while we were there. Again, we seem to always have success in Texas. Back whether it was your Texas Showdown tournaments or the Waxahachie tournaments. So it was hotter than hell, but we pulled through, and it probably helped out that we had 16 guys there, so that we could
100%
rotate guys in and out with the heat. Yep. But as far as the our MVPs and all tournaments went, Jamie Caterino, who you all know, for Hall of Famer. From Thin Blue Line, came out, helped us out. Our pitcher wasn't able to make it, so he came out, filled in. He was our wild card, and he was also the MVP. He pitched his ass off and did a great job. Our Gold Glove, Dallas Johnson, had an unbelievable tournament in the field. We had him playing a little bit of infield as well as outfield, and he made some unbelievable diving plays that you don't see many people get to. And then all tournament, you got Andy Sides and Kevin Trott. They both been with me forever. They're both gamers. They both play unbelievable defense and hit the crap out of the ball. So they kept us in every game.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to give a special shout out to Jamie. All your guys are great guys. I know them, intimately when it comes to hanging out and all. But Jamie, man, really made me feel special by rededicating that MVP bottle to me, and the words that he shared with me were just so special, man. That was a serious compliment that he told me that, hey man, I'm the MVP when it comes to him and ultimately what I do for the circuit, and I really appreciate that, man. It just, you have no idea how I go to sleep at night, and those are the things that sometimes it's a rough night, but things like that make me sleep so much better. So I appreciate you, Jamie. Thank you for that. It was serious. A serious compliment. Hey man, great tournament. Happy, and thank you for everybody that came out and supported. I want to get on to the World Series. We got the Swami. We got Jeff Blair with us, who's intimate friends with the Swami. I'm going to bring Jeff on so we can highlight the World Series, man. Here we go. Jeff, what's going on, brother?
Hey, everything's good. Finally the off season, so I get to coast a little bit.
All right, yeah.
All the stories done, got the rankings done, so get to chill a little bit. And now the only guy who's in business at this point is the stool pigeon.
Yeah, if you weren't stirring so much shit up on the board, you could chill a little bit more.
Hey, the stool pigeon doesn't create the messages; he just delivers the messages.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
By the way,
man,
is Deanna? Is she listening in right now?
Yeah,
she's in there, right? So
yep.
I didn't realize when I logged in today, I didn't realize, Trini, that you had a special co-host. I didn't realize Mike Snyder was working with you today. So I said,
oh my God, we need a side-by-side. We need a side-by-side on that one.
That's
good.
That's
great.
That's good.
Mike, good to see you. Sorry you missed the World Series, first one since 2009, but I appreciate you getting on here with the broadcast with Trini.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Even that down to the red shirt, that was nice.
That's a good. Daniel,
right,
we got to make sure you get a side-by-side on that one, okay? Hey, man, it's your show, Joe. Jeff, let's go. What do you want to highlight, man?
So, I mean, we're like an hour into this thing, so we don't need to recap the whole World Series. I got a whole story on that. You guys know the results of that. I would like to talk a little bit about let's go over there. Let's at least give the champions some press here.
So I think we're starting with the silver division first.
Yeah, let's start with the silver and work our way up.
Cool.
So we got do we have the Las Vegas team there, Sin City? With a little picture of those guys? There we are. So great team. These guys probably they're an example of a team that's probably not a silver caliber team. They're actually one of the top gold teams. I think they went maybe 2-1 in the round robin, and they still dropped down to the goals. So it just goes to show you how tough that division is. I will say in watching, because I watched every game, man, every game I could see. I will say the separation between the top gold teams and the lower silver teams is much more significant than the major teams and the top gold teams. So you understand what I'm saying? Like everyone wants to play gold, but those top gold teams are really good and they can beat the majors teams. Whereas those bottom silver teams, I mean, they're truly wreck teams, and we have a division for them. But hats off to Sin City. They got some lemonade in the fact they didn't do as well in the round robin, but they sailed through the playoffs and they well deservedly won the silver division playoffs.
And I think the way you did the brackets this year, I thought they worked out really well. And like you said, the top gold teams, what you separate those from the silver division, I think that worked. To me, I think it worked out well. Just looking at the breakdown of the final standings and everything.
I'm really happy with it. There was a couple teams that kind of jumped out at me that I would like to have seen in gold. One of them would have been Sin City, and the other one would have been Houston Hustle. But even in silver, I think Houston Hustle might have gone like 1 and 2 or something like that. So you still got to bring it, no matter what your resume says. You still got to bring it on that weekend in Vegas. So yep.
Yeah. On that note, man, to win the gold when we did, that was not easy. People will think, oh, the gold that. Dude, we had to score a buttload of runs, and all of them just weren't blowouts, man. They were close. So
And one thing about that silver division is that was the biggest division. So for Sin City to win that, they had to win majors, you had to beat 15 other teams. To win mid majors, I think we only had 14 teams, so you'd beat 13 others. To win gold, you had to beat 15 others. Those guys had to beat 25 other teams. So that's a significant accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right,
and they only had 11 players. Yeah, let's go.
Holy smokes. Yeah, that's huge. It's not Texas kind of stuff. You got to have 15, 13, 14. At a minimum, you got to have 13 when you come down here. But yeah, man, that's huge. All right, so the gold division, let's see what we got.
So a lot of guys don't understand that NWO that thing, but that's me. I was a huge wrestling fan growing up as a kid, and the NWO is the New World Order, and they were the guys that kind of took over wrestling, and they were the bad guys. And so Chicago really bid on that because what happened was every year they're a good gold team. This year they picked up all those players from Indiana. They were all majors players. So everyone expected them to move up to majors, which now I have the Chicago Metro rule now to where if you have 5 or more players who played in majors the year before, you get bumped up no matter what. But whatever the case is, they embraced it. They had a great time with it. And you know what? They didn't blow everybody out. They actually lost a game, so they had to double dip Metro Detroit's finest to win that. Wow. So, but I really enjoyed how they liked playing the bad guy role, and super good guys. Glad to see them win it. They deserved it, and they deserved their promotion next year. And they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They're a really good team. They came down. They were supposed to win it. They won it. They did what they're supposed to do, and they get their promotion next year. Good for them.
Yeah. And they brought the entire Chicago Metro Police Department down there. There was 45 guys in their dugout.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were deep. They were deep for sure. So we have a new rule because of those guys. But oh well, it is what it is. So.
Well, it's always a constant work, man. You're always
always
working it up, but it's always good, man. You guys got it down. Mid majors division.
All right, I love these guys, man. These Suffolk, right? So you got my Suffolk picture there. These guys were the Cinderella story last year. Now, remember, they're the ones that knocked an absolutely stacked LAPD Blue team in. It was the LA Blue was the number 1 team in the nation. They were defending world champions in the first game of the playoffs. Those guys right there from Suffolk knocked them into the loser bracket, and it pretty much changed the whole course of the World Series. I like these guys. They're super scrappy. So the bottom line is they did fine in the round robin. They were competitive, but they weren't good enough to make the top 16. So they dropped down into mid majors and they ran the table. They played great. They did what they were supposed to do. They won. They're champions. They get promoted to majors now. And not only are they majors next year, they're one of the Elite 8 already. So they're guaranteed. And we'll talk a little bit more with an idea that Joe came up with that we're going to implement. But they're one of the top 8 teams in the nation next year. And regardless how they play next year, they're going to be one of the top 8 going into the World Series.
Wow. All right. Yeah, those guys are always competitive, man. It's always seem to be in it. I never see those guys take a dip. It doesn't seem like, and if they do dip, it's not much. So kudos to those guys, man. All right, so majors division.
All right, here's the obviously LAPD Blue, they won it. I will say that of all the LA Blue teams I've seen them field over the past, say, 5 years, this is the least likely LA Blue team that I would have predicted to win the tournament. They didn't have many players that maybe had 13 or 14. They were missing all their major players, the Buddy, Lundy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they went out there with Dave Braun pitching. They didn't have Keith Habig. They didn't have their Danny Higa, who's arguably, if I was drafting a police softball team, he might be my first draft pick in the entire nation. They didn't have Buddy Lundy. And they went out there, and I really do believe that Dave Braun is they always say that you can judge a team by the leader. That guy is a leader. He's a gamer. He went out there and pitched his ass off and played as good as I've seen him play. And they can be beat. They could have been. The teams missed an opportunity that week, and I saw Thin Blue Line. Thin Blue Line should have beat them. I watched that entire game, and I mean, LA Blue hit a routine fly ball to left field that fell like 4 feet in front of it because the wind was blowing or something, but it fell in front. If you give that team an opportunity, they're going to take advantage of it, and that's exactly what they did. And I got to say that team usually they win with talent. This past year they won with heart. Wow. The problem is for the rest of the teams is like if you had a chance to beat LAPD Blue, your best chance was in October because come next October they've already picked up 2 or 3 of the best Riverside players. They picked up acquiring. It sounds like Buddy and those guys will be back. So doesn't always guarantee a win. We saw what Suffolk did to them, but I think that whoever plays them next year's got their work cut out for them because they do have a really solid lineup coming for 2024.
Hey, Jeff, real quick, was Habig not playing with him because he was hurt, or is he retired and he's done? I mean, what's the story with that?
He says he retired. Yeah, he says he retired from softball. He lives in Vegas. I mean, so I don't know what he was doing, but he used to play all the time, and then he started going to where he was only playing locally, like SoCal and Vegas. And then the last couple of years, he'd only played the World Series. But I tell you what, Braun did a great job. I think Dave Braun pitched great. The guy's heart of a lion. I mean, it's probably not as deceptive as Habig, but there's something to be said about that. That mental fortitude and just going out there and willing your team to win. And Braun was the MVP, and I would have voted for him for MVP. He led that team as a coach and as a pitcher and as a player, and he's a solid dude. Yeah. I
mean, coming from you to be able to say that it wasn't on talent, it was on heart, that means a lot. I mean, I didn't get an opportunity to see them, like that, but, coming from you, that means a lot. So kudos to LAPD Blue, man. And then they're coming back next year on paper, even tougher.
I still think the team is super talented. Don't right.
They're just not as talented as they could have been. And they're not as talented as they've been in the past. They just had more clicking, more heart this time. I think that those guys, they realize hey, they look around, they don't have these big name players around them, but they're big name players too. They just stepped up.
I was going to say, man, to Joe's point, it's like take their last player that they consider, top of the line, and it's like starter on any team without a doubt.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
But still, coming from you again, that means a lot, man. To hear that they
played great. It was great watching the games there. I tell you, Great Lakes, in my opinion, based on everything I saw that weekend, the best team that weekend was Great Lakes. But they lost a critical game to New York Empire to put them in the loser bracket earlier than they should have been. Yeah. And as a result of that, it's kind of like the year prior when LAPD Blue, in my opinion, was the best team, but they lost to Suffolk early on, and you get winded, you get gassed and stuff like that. So that's why we play the games, right? If we just did it on paper, there'd be no point in flying to Vegas, So that's what makes it so special is, Suffolk beating, LAPD Blue 2 years ago, or, New York Empire beating Great Lakes, who was stacked, and they were all firing on all cylinders. And all of a sudden, it continued, but I mean, they started losing their steam as they went along. By the time they got to the LAPD Blue, they just didn't have the gas. So
losing early in a bracket like that, it's tough to battle back again, especially in the majors bracket with that much talent in that bracket. It's just tough to battle back. You got to win so many games in a row to get back to the championship.
Yep.
So big kid.
So it's not just about having the best team. It's about timeliness. It's about winning those. That one game against New York Empire probably cost Great Lakes, and LAPD Blue took advantage of it. Yep, for sure.
All right, so let's move on to the first pitch. We got the first pitch coming up here, Jeff.
Yeah. So this was a good one. So. Sadly, one of the SoCal's most active teams for the last 15 years, SoCal, right? They folded this year. Henry just couldn't keep the team together. That's him throwing the first pitch out. And it was dedicated to Felix Figueroa. He's just this monster of a guy, one of the nicest guys I've ever met. And when I say that, everybody says, oh, what a great guy. But Figueroa is one of the only guys, they call him Fig, that I've never heard a person say a single bad thing about that guy. And sadly, Fig lost his battle with cancer. And I know cancer's been kind of the theme of this show. But Fig passed away this past year. The team folded, and we dedicated that first pitch honors to Felix Figueroa. By far, he was the anchor to that. Him and Henry, obviously, Henry ran the team, but Fig as a player, he was the anchor to that team. And as a result, the team doesn't exist anymore. It's really sad. But I mean, I have great memories of Felix Figueroa, and I know all the West Coast guys just absolutely loved him. Gentle giant. He was like 6'6", and just every time he saw you, he gave you a big bear hug. So
I'll tell you what, those key players, man, those key people, it can make or break a team. And that's what some teams need to understand. When they have somebody in that position that's willing to do what they do like that, man, embrace it and enjoy it for the moment. You touch on it all the time, Jeff. And I try to get these young cats to understand that, man, you're living in a wonderful moment right now. We never had what we have today on SA Law. I mean, it's been around since, 98. I mean, it's been 88, actually. It's very special this year. And I just say, make sure we embrace it.
I just say, look at I'm looking at the picture right now. There's Trini, Joe, me. I mean, imagine where the sport would be without us three plus, the other, 12, 15 other guys that, are just as involved, the Zintax and the, all these guys, Brandon West and stuff like that. You take away, 9, 12 of us, you're back to playing in the police and fire games every, once a year.
100%.
Right.
100%. So. Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you what, please listen to what I'm telling you. We've got people holding on that have been here this whole tournament or this whole show, Jeff. We're holding on to them. Trust me, you do not want to miss this Hall of Fame feature that we got. But let's keep moving on. Trust me, don't leave. Let's go to the Home Run Derby champion.
King Mario. So interesting, because he was debating whether or not he was going to do it again this year. And I said, listen, man, let somebody else win it. Everyone knows who you are. It's like you're kind of supposed to win it because you're like the guy flies around the nation hitting home runs, stuff like that. He decided to give it one last run, and I'm glad he did, because not only did he repeat, but you'll hear later, but he turned around and donated that prize package to a very special cause. So super guy. Mario, I know he didn't get in the Hall of Fame this past year, but I tell you what, man, he's like gaining like credibility in police softball and dog years. I know he didn't get into the sport till a little bit later, and that's why kind of people like he's more on the civilian and the military side. But this guy's done so much for the sport in the past few years. He's so well respected by the Rawlings company that he is now their rep. Instead of Brett Helmer coming, because Brett's running a team in Florida, they send Mario. So we really appreciate everything Mario does, and I'm glad he's the king again. Congrats, Mario.
Yeah, very deserving. And there's a great representative of the sport. And, of course, law enforcement all around the nation in all kinds of different facets. So cool. Good to you, man. Good on you. Let's go to the next photo. What do we got? All right, here we go, Jeff.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. So you guys already covered Ty Rubio and Reagan. So what happened, I don't want to get into the story. And initially, I didn't know how much they wanted to disclose until I saw your video of him speaking in the Waxahachie tournament. So he put it out there as to what was going on. You guys have already heard that. what the greatest thing was, Dan McIntyre came out and presented the family with $1,000 check.
Yep.
And then Paul Chavez, who one of the sponsors to many teams, he sponsored the event. He was Dale Pickney's friend from high school. He matched it. And then King Mario turned around and matched it. So it went from $1,000 to $3,000.
That's cool.
And then on top of that, Mario turned around and donated that AR-15 rifle that he won in the Home Run Derby, courtesy of Bud's Gun Shop. He donated that. So
and I'm pretty sure that's
it's probably worth $1,000, right? So,
yeah, and that's back-to-back years he's donated that prize for winning that.
Yeah. So the first year it went to the Del. We donated it and went to the Del Pickney Foundation. And this year it's going to go to the Rubios. But
awesome.
I just think that just seeing that happen, I mean, it brought a tear to my eye, and I've seen it all out there. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, this is amazing. And I'm thinking this started, 19 years ago. And me and Del saying, hey, let's throw a softball tournament, invite all the teams from all over the nation, to this brotherhood of people throwing thousands of dollars in to support people's children. And just like it really, that moment in time touched me more than any other moment during the whole world. Yep.
The Orozco family is very special, man. They've helped me out a lot. And ultimately with Jen sharing what she shares, seeing the girls every year, it's a very special family. So I'm glad we were able to highlight them. They're deserving of that. Badass. And of course, Mario, and he's a Hall of Famer without a doubt in everybody's mind. So it's just a matter of it happening now.
Right.
Like
I said, he's gaining credibility in dog years now. So it's So.
I got you. All right. So we got the Hall of Fame group photo coming up. Yeah.
There they all are. So this was kind of interesting year because normally we have Dennis, Leonard, and Tyson, who are the chair people, I guess. I don't want to gender identify somebody, or the chair people for the Hall of Fame committee. And neither one of the guys could make it this year. So Andy Worm, a Hall of Famer, one of the guys who was the brainchild of creating a Hall of Fame, he and Dell, Andy flew out and Andy presented the new inductees with their coins. It's really good seeing Andy back out there again. And just it was a good group. It was a smaller group this year, which is great, but it was nice seeing, like so many returning. Look how many are out there. Those are guys that are
cool.
Yeah, I mean that's like if you could write the history of police softball. I mean, there's your book right there. There's the cover of your book. All those guys standing there.
And how cool is it that everybody is as many people as there are? I mean, there's a lot of older cats in there that were healthy enough to show up again. I mean, I don't take that for granted. Obviously, that we're all able to show up there like that, man. That's very special. But I'll tell you this, Jeff. There was one particular inductee this year who had we have family, we have friends, people that come out and, are there to witness your induction. I was lucky enough to have that, and to be there to support others. But there was one particular Hall of Famer that was inducted this year that had something very special that took place. A lot of dedications that I didn't know took place until I was invited to hear about it. So check this video out.
Congratulations, Joe, on your Hall of Fame. Woo! Congrats, Joe, on the Hall of Fame. Joe, on the Hall of Fame. Woo! Here.
As you, Joe. Recognize you in the Hall of Fame.
Hey.
You're right there, right now. But you're still up there.
Congratulations, Joe, on your Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Joe, on your Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Joe, on your Hall of Fame. Oh, I can't wait to celebrate with you. Oh.
You gotta let Fremont Street.
How much did that cost you to make that? About $40?
Oh, just so you know.
You gotta love Fremont Street, man.
That's why you should stay at the host hotel at the Golden Nugget. Don't stay somewhere else. Look, I stay at a lot of places in Vegas, but when it comes to Vegas and the World Series, I stay there at the Golden Nugget for those experiences. But I'll tell you this, I can't take that credit. I'm gonna tell you, I hang out with a bunch of cool dudes, and these guys here, they're the ones that helped me out with this to be able to to be able to collect these wonderful, wonderful memories from these people that obviously are very important to Joe. You know, Joe, I don't know what to say. I've never had that kind of support. So
that was
very special.
that was an impressive video montage. I liked it. That was funny. That was good.
You got to love Fremont Street. You interviewed 8 people, and they had a total of like 42 teeth. That was good.
And Elvis made a cameo. I like that.
That was
a lot
my
of summer
favorite.
teeth going on there. It was the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
We had summer here, summer there.
Some aren't there.
So I'm really happy that we get to hang out with people. I mean, we're talking about James, you know, Dan, Sam, make me feel so special, and ultimately we get to catch up with them again. And it's cool that the Keepers of the Peace tournament and the World Series is back to back. I get to see them in a short amount of time every year, but it's very, very cool. And then I get to hang out with my boys from Missouri Law, man. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We hung out, you know, late at night, 650 pounds on the scale there, you know, with Joe and Chad and myself, along with this next photo, which they took a lot of enjoyment in seeing me eat this hot dog that was at the
Jeff, so we went to this hot dog. It's like Snoop Dogg's got a hot dog place down there on Fremont. Trini has never eaten a hot dog before.
What?
So he had never had a hot dog. So we brought him there. We got him a hot dog, and we all took videos of him eating his first hot dog.
It was a huge hot dog.
What are you, communist?
Hot dog. Hey, listen, I don't know if you tuned in or not, Jeff, but I'm staying at the Trump Hotel. So no, I'm not.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Every American's had a hot dog.
Yeah, well, not
was
that
it,
guy.
Was it good, Trini? I assume it was good, right? I like hot dogs.
Obviously, it was good. I mean, you saw the enjoyment. It was huge, though. It was huge. It was huge. But I do enjoy hanging out, man. So we're catching up with everybody at the World Series. If you don't go to the World Series, man, you're missing out. I mean, we get to hang out with so many different people and get to catch up with like-minded. You know, we're talking about Tyler and my Canadian connection. Caitlin and Olivia, super special to me. They're special to everybody in the circuit. They sing happy birthday to so many people, and they give all kinds of shout-outs. And I'll tell you what, I absolutely love my Canadian connection. They give Raphael or Trip, you know, special gifts every year, and they bring some cool stuff for us. And, you know, whether it's the ketchup chips or the Wayne Gretzky, you know, liquor. I mean, they always are bringing gifts, man. Tyler's a absolute person that truly embraces what it's all about. He comes and plays with so many different teams, and we're talking about from Canada, you know. So when we talk about Caitlin, Olivia, you know, I mean, it's just very, very special. So very cool to my Canadian connection out there. Along with somebody from our team, Jay, my buddy Jay Garcia, man. So Jay is a longstanding member of the team. He was my right-hand man when it comes to everything that embodies SA law. And, you know, this year he's going to be running for sheriff this upcoming year. So he's going to have to take a step back, not necessarily retirement. We hope to keep him in the game, but he's very, very special to me. And this year he said, you know what, with my SA Law boys, I want to get married up in Vegas. So Jeff, back to your point about what y'all started so many years ago, you, Dale, and the crew. Look what he did. He said, man, I want to get married. I want y'all to be in our SA Law uniforms. So that's what we did, man. We went out there and he got married. So with him and Edna, congratulations. They got married, they tied the knot, and it was a very special occasion. Then we went out there and got our asses handed to us, but him getting married was made it all good. So we're very, very happy to be able to experience that. And again, back to Jeff, you know, I know you've had people, you and Dale had people, you know, propose and things of that sort, but here's another example of, you know, the importance of what you guys created and what we ultimately support. You know, so that was very, very special that he chose to do that.
And let me jump on there for a minute, talking about, you know, like Vegas and how important it is. So all you young guys that want to have kids, you need to be like working on it like this minute, because come February, no more sex, right, Joe? Otherwise, you start like people start getting pregnant, like, oh no, so and so's going to be due in October. Like, you got to back. It ain't rocket science in the history of Earth. It's been about 9 months, right? So back it up, and then that's when you know your window is. So
that's actually part of the contract when I sign new guys. I actually have that in there.
You control when they get to have sex.
I know that I've planned, and it sounds silly, but I planned a lot of stuff around police softball for that. So, but
my wife induced 2 weeks early. We induced our second daughter 2 weeks early.
Wow!
So I could go play in Tahoe. And I tell you what, she's giving us a hard time now. She's 21, so she probably could have used another 2 weeks in the oven to straighten her out a little bit. But whatever the case, at the time, it seemed like a good idea. So.
Well, you know what's cool about tonight is there are no tournaments coming up. So I'm going to have sex with my wife without a doubt. It's happening. Well, damn, maybe not. We'll see. But I'll tell you this. I was very special. Big shout out to Michelle, Pickney. I know that she just was able to get her all clear. And I know she's gone through a lot. And so I'm very happy to be able to say that, she's on that road to recovery and healing very well. And that's a very special blessing. So big shout out to Michelle. Along with, let's see here, being able to be awarded the 52 Strong Award, in honor of Dan Spinelli. That was very important to me. I've had a couple of awards within our circuit. And one thing I say is that it's a huge honor to be able to be honored by your peers. And I know what my peers go through and what they do. And so to be honored by my peers is a huge thing. I'll tell you that one of the guys that signed up with us with Biotechs, is Todd Wolf. He's joining us tonight on the podcast. And Todd's a veteran of our military. Went through some difficult times. We call him Titan. People call him Titan with all his screws and the titanium that's in his body. So I'm going to give a big shout out to Todd, who joined us here recently with Biotechs and his service to our country, man. Appreciate you signing up. And it means a ton to me, man. I'm glad you're joining us. So let's see here. And then we've got, all right, real quickly, Jeff, because I know we're going to head out. Give us a quick preview of the 2024 season. Like, what do we got coming up? What do we got on the horizon,
Let's talk. Let's go into the changes that we got set for 2024 World Series, because I know Jeff put that out there, and maybe some people didn't read it, and got some new rules for next year.
All right, let's do it.
So yeah, some important stuff coming up. So we're sticking. First of all, we're going to stick with the Elite Eight. 2 of those spots are already taken, right? So LA Blues already in Elite Eight for next year, and then Suffolk's Elite Eight, right? So that leaves 6 tournaments to have at-large berths. If you win them, you're in the Elite Eight. You already know the 6. It's out west. It'll be the DEA kickoff, the West Conference, and then in the middle of the country, you're going to have Waxahachie, St. Louis, and then out east, you'll have the new one at the Space Coast, hosted by Brandon West. And then what used to be the Dayton National Championships. Where's it at now? Columbus,
Ohio.
Is that right?
Yep.
Columbus, Ohio. So so this is an idea that Joe came up with that I really like. It makes sense. If you're one of those Elite Eight teams, not only are you guaranteed majors, you're guaranteed one of the top 8 berths in the majors. And that will prevent like what we had this year of, say, 2 Elite Eight teams opening up against each other, because Joe's team sandbagged on purpose to lose a few games because they wanted to play Great Lakes. And they finished as the 16 seed despite being one of the Elite Eight. So they can't do that next year. Next year, they're going to be – the worst they would be 8th. So if you're Elite Eight, you're 1 through 8. And that'll be based on your round robin. So even if you go 0-3 in the round robin, the worst you could be is the 8th seed, and that'll prevent a 1 seed going against a 16 seed. So that's number 1. Joe, anything further on that we need to discuss, or is that pretty clear?
I was just, that's clear, and I was just going to add to it that basically it's gonna even out the bracket with the Elite Eight teams. So if let's say like this year we only had 6 because somebody won 2 tournaments or whatever, that'll have 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, instead of having 5 on top and 1 on the bottom, wherever all the Elite Eights are jammed on one half of the bracket. It's just evens everything out, and also like we had talked, it rewards your efforts earlier in the season. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so that's number one. I'm not a huge change, but just that's a minor change. But I really like that Elite Eight, and I really think it adds more like prestige to those other tournaments that are going, because the other tournaments, they happen early in the year, and then you move on, you kind of forget about them. But now you're going to remember who won Space Coast, because come October, they're going to be one of the Elite Eights, and they're going to say they earned it back in March or something, which is pretty cool. That's number one. Number two is I introduced some rules that we're going to begin with. We're flip-flopping majors and uppers and lowers again. So it used to be uppers was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and lowers was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We did that for several years, and then we flipped them. The neat thing about if you front loaded, if you're the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, on Saturday night, it's really electric out there. Like if you're playing in like this past year, the Majors Championship game, just because there's more teams still alive, where come Sunday night, there's less teams still alive. So that being said is we're flipping it back for a period of time just to try it out again, to give the lowers some exposure to that Saturday night. So this year, Saturday, the lowers will play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is gold and silver, and the uppers, majors, mid-majors will play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One of the reasons is there's so many more lower level teams that, like, if you saw the way it worked this past year, I mean, we were out there. The tournament, it's like a matrix of the games. It's like a Rubik's Cube, and if one piece is out of place, the whole thing falls apart. Well, that's why I had to front load. Like majors, you played 4 games, Joe, on Thursday,
Yes.
and then maybe only 1 on Friday, and then you play. So by doing it this way, I'm pretty sure we can get back to where the majors only play their 3 round robin games on Friday, and then won't have to play another playoff game until Saturday, which is pretty cool, rather than playing. And there's so many lower level teams, they'll just play. So in a perfect world, you play your 3 round robin on the first day, and then you start the playoffs the next day for both upper and lower. So that's number one. And if it doesn't work out, we'll go back in the following years. But for this year, for sure, we're doing it that way, because I know teams are already booking their flights and planning their vacation and stuff. That's number one. Number two is, and this is driving me, the games got super long. Like some of the major games were taking longer than Major League Baseball games. And I started really watching, like, what is taking so much time? And it really is like a batter walks up, time, gets into the box, talks to his buddies on the side, digs in, pitchers. It's almost like it was a football play. The pitcher brings the infield in. They discuss where everybody's going to be. They go out. The guy pitches the ball. Batter takes it. Strike. What's the batter do? Time.
Yells at the umpire.
Right? Steps out, right? Now we got another huddle out there where we're going to play some around like that. And the guy digs back in. Here comes the pitch, and whatever happened, it's ball or something like that. It's a ball. Now the pitcher, are you kidding me? That's not a ball. It's like every strike and ball was becoming an argument. It was like really grinding. It really brought the pace of the game down, and I think it had a negative impact. So I started, what did Major League Baseball do? And they started implementing these time clocks. And I don't want to be to where, we got enough going on to worry about, shot clock violations, stuff like that. But the bottom line is, the rule is, once you're a batter and you step into that batter's box, you can't step. You get to step out once on a timeout, and that's it. Then even if you call timeout, you don't get to step out. You just get a timeout, but you don't get to leave the batter's box. You're in the batter's box. Same for the pitcher. He's got to stay in his little pitching square. We can't have a huddle every time there's a new pitch.
So he can still call timeout, but he has to stay in the box.
But he can't step out. Yep. Can't go back, screw around, talk to your buddies, spray paint spray the bat. And then also, we really got to cut down. I don't like the way these umpires. I mean, I don't know what Potter's paid him $30 or whatever a game, and the games are like 2 hours long. It's like $15 an hour. Like these guys took some serious abuse over balls and strikes calls. So I really want to get more like Major League Baseball. Like, hey, if a professional baseball player doesn't get to scream and yell, and he's making millions of dollars, and an umpire's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, we shouldn't be yelling at some guy making $30 an hour, right? Let's cut out this arguing of the balls and strikes. The call's already been made. It's not like he's going to change his mind. He's like, you know what? On further review, I agree with you now. I think I'm going to change that to a ball. That doesn't happen. So let's cut down on the balls and the strike arguing, right? Get in, you dig in. If you don't like the call, you can call timeout, but you don't get to walk around, get the crowd involved and stuff. Stay dug in, get ready to hit again. Same with the pitcher. You know what I mean? Like we got to cut down on the arguing of this kind of stuff. So that's going to speed up the games. The second rule is you guys finally broke me down to where we'll have runners for the pitcher. I truly believe like there should only be one runner and the runner should only be for the pitcher, period. That's my belief. The bottom line is, well, we got this guy that's slow. Like if the guy's a cop and he's got a badge on, he should be able to somehow get around those bases because I assume he could somehow catch a bad guy, right? Or like, dude. So how is it the guy can't? I understand he's not the fastest guy on the team, but the bottom line is if you're a sworn police officer, you should at least be in good enough shape to where you can jog whatever 80 feet. That being said, I'm giving in. Like I can bend. I'm flexible. You get one runner per inning. It could be any, and this is I can't believe how confusing this is. It can be anybody on your team as long as they're on the roster card. There's 20 names on the roster card. Any of those, it doesn't matter who it is. One runner. Then the pitcher gets an automatic runner. It can also be anybody on that roster card. Just put it. Pitcher automatically gets a runner. That's just the way it's going to be to speed things up. I didn't see a huge problem with that, but I did see a few times where the pitcher would be on second base and it'd be the third out. He had to come in and walk in, put his gear on, then come out. And it did slow things down a little bit. So I do see some benefit to having a mandatory for the pitcher. And then people are saying, well, what if we want our pitcher to run? All right, well, now it's like we still have the scenario where if he's the second out or he's the third out at second base, we still have that delay. So we're just going to take the pitcher out of the equation and have him not run. Joe, any questions on that?
No, you're good.
Joe, I got it right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was another one we came up with?
The other one is there's for the pitchers. So with uppers, they now have to be in contact with the rubber on release.
Right. So that's a USSSA rule. And initially it was only for like B and above. And I said, well, our guys are not, some of the guys are B and above, but most of the guys are not, right? So I will say now USSSA has made that universal for everybody. You got to be in contact with the rubber. So for us, we'll do baby steps. We're gonna, it's like the pool gets like, you start in the shallow end, you go to the deep end. So upper level, we're gonna break it in this year. You got to be on the rubber. Those guys are all higher level pitchers. They'll be fine. The lower level guy, you still be able to pitch from behind the rubber, and we'll see how that goes. Honestly, most of the complaining is the upper levels anyway. It's not the lower level. You don't see lower level pitchers like taking advantage of that rule as much as the upper guys. So in theory, then we're taking a tool away from the pitcher, right? So we're making him be in contact with the rubber when he releases the ball, but we're giving him a tool back by saying, hey, that batter, once he digs in, he's got to stay in there. That way he doesn't get a chance to reset his feet and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like the balance because it's already a hitter's game. The ball's coming underhand. We're using these rock hard balls, these amazing bats and stuff like that. So I don't like taking tools away from the pitcher, but what I really don't like is the constant arguing about he wasn't in contact with the rubber. So we're just going to go with USSSA rules on that one for the uppers. Lowers, they don't argue nearly as much. So lower guys, those guys are kind of like it kind of runs itself. The upper guys, you got to watch those guys.
Well, that rule right there, I'm not a big fan of it, but I agree that it does make it easier on the umpire as far as calling the strikes, the USSSA strike, because if you're pitching from 6 foot behind the rubber, you get 5, but of course, guys take advantage of the extra foot or 2.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little harder, a little faster. It's going to come in. It's going to look like a strike, but they're saying no. It's just easier for the umpire. It's probably going to be less arguing, is my guess. So I agree with that. But I still, like I said, I still enjoy having the 5 foot behind. But if that's the rule, that's the rule.
Yeah, I'm trying to create less subjectivity, right? So especially with the uppers, the lower guys. I mean, yeah, I don't want to. Some of the guys, they pitch it and they just, you've seen some of the lower teams, some of the very lower teams. I mean, those guys. I mean, they're not Biscuit, who are used to facing these guys that have these cat-like reflexes. I don't want anybody getting hurt out there. So we'll see how it works this next year, and if it continues, if it progresses to where, hey, everyone's used to it now, maybe we'll do it for everybody. But let's start this year with uppers doing toe on the rubber, and then lowers will still do the 6 foot back rule. Along the same lines is the most controversial thing this year, believe it or not, was and I can't believe how, like, the problem with cops is cops know how to, although they enforce the rules, they don't exploit the rules. So leading off when you're into foul territory, it literally brought the tournament to a stop on 3 different occasions where somebody would lead off into foul territory, because we built into it for safety. Hey, you can lead off into foul territory as long as you retouch. Well, one of the teams brought up what says it never says you have to start in the bag. So the umpire says, no, you need to start in the bag, and then when the pitch is released, you can step off the bag and then retouch. That brought the tournament came to a 20-minute halt because the rules didn't specifically say that you got to start in the bag, even though the umpire explained the rules in the beginning. So we're just going to eliminate that, because I went and watched one of the games, and one of the guys, they were doing it right. He was starting the bag. He stepped off the bag. The minute he stepped off the bag, they hit a line drive. He hit him right in the stomach in foul territory. So I'm not sure how stepping off the bag brings any more safety. I mean, literally you're talking about moving 3 feet to the left, but I mean, the hitter's not that precision to where I think if you're standing over there, you're 60 feet away no matter what. Was the base 70 feet, Joe? You're 70 feet away no matter what. It's just a matter if you're 5 feet far to the left or 5 feet forward to the right. So we're just going to go with the USSSA rules. You got to be on the bag. It's one because I did see. I don't want to see is a game end on a technicality, and one of the games didn't end, but it was like second out in the bottom of the 7th, where a guy did not start on the bag. He started in foul territory, and the umpire called him out. I don't like seeing that. It's one less thing for the umpire to have to worry about too, is watching the bags and stuff like that. So we're just going to stay on the bag.
Yep.
Now, what I would like to do, Joe and Trini, is I would like for them to come up with an orange safety bag for third base. You know what I'm saying? Like, first base has got one into foul territory. I'd like to see them invent one for third base in foul territory. And then you have to worry about the retouching and all that kind of stuff. Just you got to be on one of the either the white or the orange bag you pick. I would be happy.
I mean, it doesn't make a difference as far as the difference between the bags and home plate if you're on third. It doesn't make a difference. And some people argued, well, what's the difference? I mean, the ball's still coming just as fast, but even if it's peace of mind for the runner or any, I mean, it is what it is, but it does. I can imagine where Dan's talking about. Dan's saying straight across the board, everybody toes that rubber. That takes judgment out of the umpire. Now you made sure to emphasize that we're going to try it this year. And then next year, if it works out, then we'll go across the board, and you got to try something. So I see that you're trying to do something, and you're going with the upper or higher level that play softball all the time. So easier for them than the lower. But again, I can see from Dan's perspective, trying to bring all these umps in and get them to all be on the same page and be consistent. I understand where he's coming. So we're trying it this year. Who am I to judge? You guys have been doing this for a long time, and y'all are the pinnacle. So we follow it.
It's not all about making it easy on their umpires. I mean, if it's because like Majors gets 7 home runs and Gold gets 5. So there are different rules. So it's not. As long as it's not drastically different, we'll be okay.
And then the rubber rule, I think, is just going to eliminate some of the arguing. I think because you don't have as much. I don't know. There's just going to be less arguing because there's going to be less. You're not going to have that discrepancy of the 6 foot. I mean, that's a huge difference in the pitch height and everything else. Speed, everything.
Was he 6 foot or 7 foot? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then as far as the retouch goes, I've never really been a fan of that rule. I don't use that in St. Louis. We never do retouch. And for the same reason you just said, I mean, whether you're 2 foot off the bag or on the bag. I mean, it's still coming at you hot one way or the other, whether it's a foul ball or fair ball. I just be aware. I mean, a lot of these guys play infield that are out there. They know, you know, I mean, they should be able to move, like you said, 70 foot away. You should be able to get out of the way in time. But anyway, I know you still see guys get hit, and I saw.
I don't think it's any safer by standing 2 feet to the right than it is where you are. You get hit 2 feet to the right. I saw a guy do it. He's in foul territory. He got hit. Had he have been on the base, he wouldn't have got hit. So like, why move? So.
But you know how it is, man.
I think that's it. Is that all the big rules?
That's it. That's all the rule changes. I like them all. I'm looking forward to it. And
the only other rule I want to cover is the Chicago rule, and that's if you've got 5 guys on your roster that played uppers last year, you have to play uppers this year. So let's say I'm trying to think let's say San Antonio folds and Houston Hustle picks up 5 of your guys, Trini. They're going to uppers no matter what. Got it? So, so if you got 5, and now they don't have to stay up there. Let's say they go up for a year and they get beat up on or whatever. Like Lone Star is a good example. They won gold, and the next year they went up. They got beat up a little bit. They've been down in gold ever since. That's fine. But what we can't have is like teams like reconfiguring themselves with the same players, changing their name and trying – like nobody should win gold 2 years in a row. You see what I'm saying? Like it should never happen. Majors, mid-majors, that might happen, but gold, it should never happen to where you win gold 2 years in a row.
I know we have 8 minutes left. Let me ask you this. Stu's bringing this one up, and I want you to be able to. Joe's about to get, Jeff, you didn't hear it, I don't think, but Joe's about to get a promotion. He's been at this for 3 years, so I'm going to give him administrative rights to be able to see the comments. So he's going to be able to take these on head on, but I'm going to introduce this one.
Thanks, man.
So Stu's saying it's getting hit in fair territory for an out or in foul territory for a foul ball. What do you have to say to that?
I'm guessing he's saying that
if you're standing on the bag, you're not out.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe he's saying that
if you stand on the bag, you're not out.
Yeah, I'm not quite understanding what he's saying, but
if you're standing on the bag, it's fine.
As soon as you come off the bag, there's
because you wouldn't lead off into fair. You wouldn't lead off towards second base if you're on third base. You wouldn't move to second. You're either going to be on the bag or going to be. I just don't see a scenario where you'd be in fair territory and either not on the bag or in foul territory coming down the line, unless you're. If you're running down the line.
How about on first base when you're off the bag, and then if you get hit by a ball, it's a foul versus. But like he's saying, if you're on the bag, it's not an out. If you're on the bag, or whether you're foul territory first, if you're stepping off for a retouch, it doesn't matter. Okay. Right. And I saw that happen in our game against Sencal. One of the Martins brothers got hit by a laser on first base. I didn't know if he was going to be able to come back, but he did. But yeah, he was on the bag, therefore he wasn't out. Gotcha. Well, I think it's interesting, man. I think this is some good conversation for the off-season stuff too, But Jeff, in the end, you got to make a decision. You go with it. We try it out for this upcoming year, and then hey, if it doesn't work out, something ends up happening, we change it. I mean, if for people who've never been in this position, I understand. But when you're a tournament director and you're trying to create all these rules, I mean, it's just you're not going to satisfy everyone, and not everybody's going to always understand it. But I invite them to put a tournament on, create these rules, and try to find a good mix. Sure. And that's what you guys do, and I'm on board with it. No different than Josh said. Josh said not a fan of that one.
Thank you, Trini. These are very subtle.
Yeah.
Very subtle changes. It's not like we're asking guys to run the bases the wrong way, right?
And another thing,
very subtle.
Talking to those guys who actually who run tournaments, tournament directors, me personally, I think it's a good idea. You don't necessarily have to have every rule like the World Series, but I think rules like staying in the box, you get one timeout, things like that. I think those are good rules that maybe we can, as tournament directors, implement in all of our tournaments so that once you get to the World Series, it's not going to be an issue and guys are used to it at that point, stuff like that.
I agree with you, Joe. And that's where I'd like to have this
That's a
conversation
great point, Joe.
again. Yeah, I'd like to have this conversation. Maybe we can do something that kind of brings us together before the new year rolls around and just discuss it. Jump on not a podcast necessarily, but maybe a group, kind of like a Zoom call. Let's get the tournament directors that we know are forecasted to put tournaments on, and let's discuss these things, man. I don't have a problem with sitting. We've been here for an hour and 56 minutes. I don't mind being here for 2 hours talking about tournament rules and kind of hashing it out so that we can ultimately be all on the same page. Because, in the end, that's how I designed my tournament, was to follow just about every rule, to include bats, turf fields. That's why I travel from San Antonio to Waxahachie. Turf fields. I try to make it as close as possible so that when teams come to my tournament, they're practicing for what they're about to participate in, which is the biggest, tournament in our circuit. So if we can get a lot of tournaments on board with this, I think it'd be a great thing. I mean, I think that every tournament director should be able to do like what I do, which is, what do I call it, Joe? The
wild card.
There you go, wild card player. Doing a little bit of something like that's cool to mix in here and there to make it a little different. But in the end, it's not that far off that when we go to Vegas, we're all on the same page. So I'm interested in being able to incorporate these things. I would like to talk about it a little bit more, and then maybe we can do a podcast right before the new year starts and let everybody know, hey, we're all on the same page and this is what's happening.
And that wild card rule that's not a rule that's going to affect the game flow. You know what I mean? What I'm specifically talking about is there's nothing wrong with adding different rules for different tournaments, but I'm talking about the game flow rules specifically. Like if we can get everyone on board with that, by the time you get to Vegas, everyone's used to them, and then to be fewer issues, I guess, once you're there, playing.
Especially with Dan. I know Dan would really enjoy that. People joining on. So we got Stu saying, I like the orange bag on third. Idea, thinking outside the box.
I'm working on big league dreams. Yeah, I'm working on big league dreams.
Very cool. Josh says, at least in the 6
they just don't have a bag
major tournaments. Josh is saying at least in the other 6 major tournaments. Stu says, enforcing the 5-second from ball presentation would be nice. And Stu was saying again.
He said Brad. He said Brad Johnson, probably.
Yeah. But hey, man, I appreciate you guys joining me. It's very cool to be able to recap, honor chair, keepers of the peace tournament, the World Series, and ultimately the preview. So thank you guys. Hey, I'll tell you what, we kept everybody. It was a great amount of people. I know a lot of people tune in after hours. So thank you guys again for joining me. It makes it truly special.
See you guys soon.
Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Yep, we'll see you guys.
Man. Signing out. Trini, man, don't forget I got your 6.